Welcome back to Hair What I'm Saying, the podcast where we explore Black texture hair experiences through culture, identity, history, and the science of hair. Today's episode is one that reminds us that hair has never been just about appearance. For decades, military grooming standards influenced how Black service members cared for their hair, often requiring them to navigate rules that weren't originally created with texture hair in mind. For many, those standards impacted not only how they looked, but how they felt, how they were perceived professionally, and even the health of their hair and scalp. Welcome to the Hair What I'm Saying podcast. I'm your host, Kenitra Stewart. Today we have Jacinda Mitchell joining us to talk about our Black hair experiences in the military while serving our country. Welcome to the show, Jacinda. How are you?
Hi, Kenitra. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation to join us on the Hair What I'm Saying podcast to share your perspective and also your experiences while serving our country, navigating through the extensive Black hair standards. They weren't called Black hair standards, but that's what it felt like.
That's what it feels like.
Yes. And also a special shout out to Mary for referring Jacinda, which is her close relative.
That's my cousin. That's my crib buddy cousin right there.
Crib buddy cousin.
Yes.
I love that. That lets us know how close.
Very close.
Not only related, but y'all are in y'all's relationship.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah. And Mary, I miss you and I still adore you almost 8 years later. And I hope I can see you soon. You need to come visit Jacinda so we can all link up.
Yes, actually, she does owe me a visit. Okay.
Yes, so we can all link up and just kick it and have a good time.
That would be great. That would be so great.
Yes. So I like to start off with, I'm learning to start off with burner questions just to get us all relaxed and into the groove and flow of the Hair What I'm Saying podcast. And yeah, let's just start with the first burner question. What is your favorite duty station and why?
Ooh. So 23 years gives you lots of places to be. So,
I know.
Really thinking about that. But my first two duty stations was prior to me going from military intelligence to combat arms. So I was stationed at the Pentagon and I was stationed in Hawaii. And I had to think about those two places because of the difference in my experience. One, Hawaii off the bat. I'm from Biloxi, Mississippi. It's a beach town, so give me the beach all day long.
Amen.
That was a dream for me to be in Hawaii.
Fort Shafter, Schofield.
I lived on Schofield Barracks, but I worked at Field Station Kinea.
Oh,
because I was military intelligence, and we worked underground.
That's right.
Yeah. So we worked underground. But that 3 years was just wonderful, just for all the things Hawaii would be. And then being not in combat arms, and those were my first two duty stations. I had no idea what I was in for when I switched over to combat arms. So definitely favorite when it comes to just the whole, you join to see the world and you go to these wonderful places and get to do these wonderful things. That was both of those places for me.
And you said that was your first
and second duty station.
Wow.
So we're talking 1990 through 94.
Were you afraid?
Not until they said we had to go to Gulf War I.
Yeah.
To Iraq.
Yeah.
So I was actually in basic training when Panama Just Cause wrapped up, and my mom's calling. I need my baby out of the military.
Right.
Mom, don't do that.
She called them.
Oh, she was trying to call people.
What, Red Cross?
Anybody that would listen.
My gosh, are you serious?
And after that calmed down, then we immediately began ramping up into Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. And then, so I kind of had a little bit of a detour between the Pentagon and Hawaii to Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Okay.
So
I'm torn in between Hawaii and Fort Belvoir. Yeah, I really like the DMV a lot.
Yeah, I love the DMV too.
Yes. OMG.
That's where my quarters was when I was stationed at the Pentagon.
Really?
Was at Fort Belvoir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I
lived in
miss
Fort Belvoir.
like the historic.
The buildings, the seasons.
The seasons.
The trees.
You literally get all 4 seasons.
You get all 4 seasons. I'm not a big snow fan, but it was fun because it was new for me again, being from the South. I had never really been. I think that was probably the first time I'd seen snow, really. I don't think I'd ever seen snow.
Especially in that amount.
Yeah,
me
in that
too,
amount, for
as
sure.
well, because I'm from Louisiana, so it don't snow down there.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know it don't
Yeah.
snow down. And Mississippi and Louisiana have like the same neighboring climate. So
Yes, definitely.
yeah, so that was my first time experiencing it in that amount, but we get like the little ice.
Yeah,
And then
that's it. And everything shuts down because we're not used to that.
But in Virginia, they keep rolling, right?
And I would be at home as much as I could be.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes. What was your longest deployment or assignment, and what was one thing that helped you get through it?
So definitely my short tour to Korea. So that's automatically 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And you're usually minus your family for those
Right.
short tours. And I had 2 teenagers and a baby when I went to Korea for that short tour assignment. And it was one of my most difficult and challenging professionally assignments as well. But my husband at the time, he followed me 3 months later. And we planned it that way, so we could be over there together and get it over with. And that definitely, of course, made a difference to have my spouse there, to be able to, when we did have downtime, to be able to at least keep that connection going, even though we both were away from the children.
Right.
So definitely being co-located on a tour like that helped get through, the difficult time.
Yeah, I'm sure, for sure.
It did.
I never been deployed, so I don't have the experience, of most, military service members, or, even listening to your story. I'm like, I've never experienced that,
Oh, yeah, it's a thing. And, Korea you get an overseas tour ribbon with Korea. It's still technically a war going on. It's a ceasefire. But yeah, deployments. And now my ex, he did some 18-month tours in those Gulf War times because we just got stuck in places. But I did not have that experience. So my longest has always been about 12 months when I was deployed out. Yeah. So either the short tours or, Bosnia or Afghanistan, wherever I went, I never did more than the 12 months.
What about in the Air Force? Because you did tell me you have Air Force experience.
I did
or background.
Spend 7 years in the Air Force. And my tour, my favorite tour for the Air Force, I did a tour in Peru. And it was a humanitarian tour.
Oh, I bet that was so fulfilling.
It was very fulfilling. I had switched to medic at that point. So I was a pretty seasoned medic. I was a senior medic at that time. And just going into the indigenous areas and providing care. The things we take for granted, aspirin, sunglasses. The altitude is very high and it really ruins and destroys your eyes early in life. And so to just get a hold of a pair of sunglasses in that area was amazing. And so we had all those things. And I recall I treated a young woman. She was pregnant and had became ill, had some kind of infection in her eye. And she needed hospitalization and IV antibiotics. And we couldn't get that for her. So we set up an IV in a school where we were working out of and got her on her IV. And I was watching her. I was the one watching her the whole time for her IV antibiotics. And somebody captured a picture of me doing that. And I look at that all the time because it just reminds me of really what we take for granted here and what people, really need, and all the workarounds that people go through in other places just to get simple care. Because, I was like, oh, okay, she can go to the hospital in Lima. And they're like, no, it's not that easy. And she had to stay there with us. And I was just changing her IVs, watching her IVs, watching her fluids, watching just everything as if we were in the hospital.
Right. Wow. That's very admirable.
It's just doing what you got to do,
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure she still remembers you to this day. The way how you, just bedsat her and made sure that she was good. I know she still remembers you to this day. Like, where is that lady?
Yeah. I was so bad. I had nowhere for her to lay down. She had to sit up in this, those elementary school
wow, the desks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's where she sat. For that. So, admiration to her, because, the will to be healthy, the will to live, the will to be good for the baby you're carrying. All that. I just gained so much from looking at her and the strength that it took for her to get what she needed.
That's right. Absolutely. If someone who's never served spent one day in your boots, what's one thing they'd be most surprised to learn about you?
So to learn about me,
Or your military life?
military life. I think a lot of realizations that I learned after service or realized after service. I always say, I'm 13 years post-retirement now, and I'm like, when I retired from two other things: getting up before sunrise. I don't know how I ever did that, and all the physical activity, the PT and all that stuff. But what I'm surprised to see about myself retrospectively is just my stamina, my resilience. And is a lot of things that you learn about yourself that surprises even you. And that to me is the biggest thing. Like, a lot of people would imagine, oh, you carry a lot of negative memories. And there are.
Right.
But the good, the lessons, the person you become, that always outweighs, to me, any of the unpleasant memories that I have of service.
For sure.
Yeah, it outweighs it.
Do you feel like you had to relearn yourself post-military?
Oh, my goodness. Oh my gosh. I mean, literally, I purposely, when I was job searching, because some people retire, after 20 plus years and they don't go back into work. And that's fine. I didn't choose to do that. I went straight into a second career in corporate too. I'm kind of corporate. But I was being offered, of course, managerial level type jobs. And I was like, no, I'm not ready for that.
Most do. They're listen.
No.
I have been taking care of soldiers and airmen for a long time. I just want to be in my little spot, in my little place.
Yes.
Give me my job.
Yes.
I don't want to manage manage nobody.
Nothing or anybody, right? Just me. I had to figure out how to dress. I had to figure out how to...
Oh, that's true.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My kids used to say, Mom, come on now.
Don't wear
the
that.
Browns, we got to get rid of that, right? My husband saying that he dresses me. I mean, it was like I had to learn how to dress. I had to learn a new toolbox of how to lead. Yes, a lot of people go, we want those military leaders coming out. I want that person. Yeah, but the way I know how to lead is not quite what you want in the boardroom. Like,
That's right.
Yeah, give me a minute to figure out this thing. Learn the lay of the land and understand, like you said, who I am and what things no longer serve me and what things I need to learn.
That's right. Absolutely. Did you have that opportunity, or you were pushed into that position and you just had to learn as you go?
I did. I was fortunate. The gentleman that hired me, my director, we were very close to this day. He called me the general for some reason. He introduced me as the general all the time.
Did he have any prior military service?
He did not.
It's so funny to me whenever civilians, they've never had any military service or don't have any military background at all. General is I don't know what it is about that rank, but they give everyone. I'm like, there's officer and there's enlisted. Those are two different things.
That's insulting to us enlisted folks, honestly. We're like, hey, I work for a living, right?
That's right, yeah.
So it was strange, but I walked into my first meeting rooms and it was like, yeah, there's the general. And I'm like, okay. I have a name. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate that I took a position that would allow me that, first of all. So a complete cut in pay.
Yeah.
But I needed that more. And in that I grew. I have a great work family. I'm still at the same place. I have not moved. I work at the same place I started my second career at. So it's 14 years now.
I was about to say, so 13 or 14 years. So
yes.
You went to work right after,
I went to work
post-military.
right after.
Right to work.
And then I've been at this same organization.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I don't know how to move around, though, either. Because it's like we move around the military, but you still get the check still coming from the same person, Uncle Sam.
That's
so it's
right.
the same thing. I've been at this same place, and I have been allowed to grow. And I have recently, been promoted into some senior levels, but I did take my time. I chose to take my time. I needed to fix some things about me, my life, my family, before I took on that kind of responsibility.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll get on into the episode. Thank you so much for sharing. Those burner questions I like the way that it's called. It's called burner for a reason. Like to warm up. Like to warm us up and get us going and flowing.
Yeah.
All right. So, growing up, what was your relationship with your hair?
Ooh, definitely love hate.
Mm.
Definitely love hate. Whew, uh, I was the kid that had the good hair, the quote unquote good hair.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, it was longer. It's very thick, but it's still, I had a pattern that wasn't what you called kinky. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. We're very much had lingering effects of colorism and things like that. And
Texturism.
you're from Louisiana, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
half my family is Creole. So you know how it is. It's
Yes, I
gonna
do.
be I was too dark to be light and too light to be dark,
Dark.
but I had long hair but when you're in a family, that's a rainbow.
Yeah.
I remember when I was young, my younger sister, she would cry when I would get my hair done. And our grandparents raised us. So my grandmother would, she's braiding my hair and she'd be like, okay, you got to get up and walk out a little bit so she could finish braiding my hair
was so long.
to the end. And it made my sister sad because she didn't have the type of hair I had. And that bothered me. And in school, I was the kid that I had my hair cut once behind me. The little girl behind me cut my hair, from the desk.
OMG.
Yeah, I had that happen to me.
Okay. All right. We got some unpacking to do. Okay. So for your sister, describe her hair texture for me.
She's definitely the 4C, kinky.
So kinky.
And I'm not
coily,
far from it.
Kinky, coily, curly?
I'm kinky coily. She's kinky. Just
okay,
real
gotcha.
kinky. And she didn't have length to her hair.
Okay. So she admired your hair.
And she admired it. And for me, it was a pain. My hair was a pain.
Because it was so much.
It was so much.
Yeah.
It was so much to get through, to get done. And then, again, my grandparents raised us, so they were born in the 20s. Very, very conservative. So my grandmother would be tying them braids tight and pinning them to my head, and I'd have headaches and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. I was older when I really realized what my sister may have been going through.
How many years apart are y'all?
We're a little over 3 years apart.
Okay, so that's pretty close in age too.
We're pretty close in age.
Yeah. Did she ever make comments like, why didn't I get your hair?
Definitely.
What would you say?
As a kid, I didn't know what to say.
Right.
And we didn't share the same paternal line. And so it was just something that it made me feel bad because I felt helpless. I didn't know what to do. As soon as I was old enough, I cut my hair.
Oh, do you think that was because of your experiences, like you brought up about the kid that cut your hair in school?
Yeah.
How old were you when that happened?
I was about 14.
14?
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're in elementary. 14
No, I was 14
years
when I
old?
first cut
Like a
it.
freshman in high school?
Yeah, maybe 8th grade. So maybe 13 or something.
That's still old.
It was, yeah, I was scared. My you didn't cut your hair. You know how it is
Because in the
down
South, you don't cut
do
your
that.
hair because
especially if you got the good hair.
That's right.
You
Because
don't cut
length
it.
would equal, femininity. You're beautiful, and you know what it all comes
Yes,
with. Yeah, for
you
sure.
don't cut your
and
hair.
short hair was
Not the thing.
It was just not the thing.
There was
yeah.
one of those judgment lines.
So, did you know this girl that cut? It was.
Oh yeah,
you knew
Yeah.
her.
Yeah,
Were
I knew
y'all
her.
friends, or was she like
No, that was a
prior
kid.
bully?
She was a bully.
Okay, yeah.
And definitely, every year we had a fight about something.
Wow. So she was it envy? She was
And now
jealousy?
I think so too.
Yeah. What about her hair? What did it look like?
Now this young lady happened to be much lighter skinned than I, but she didn't have the good hair, that thing
Yeah.
too. And I think that had a lot to do with it.
So walk me through that. The day that she cut your hair, like when it happened, like what was going on?
So we were in, class, and, we're sitting together in those desks all back butted up to each other. And I kept feeling, like, I'm like, and she would do that. She would mess with my hair and pick with me and stuff. And then I'd be getting in trouble because like, what's wrong with you? Over there.
Because you're more noticeable. Turn around, trying to see what's going on. That's right.
Yeah. That was the kind of relationship we had that year. But it wasn't until I think it was the guy, and I'm trying to keep from calling names, right?
Yeah,
but,
for sure. Yeah,
it was one of our guy friends. We're all still friends to this day. He was like, because he saw like this,
How much of your hair did she cut?
Probably, when I was recalling this, preparing, I would say maybe about 2 inches of one ponytail.
Oh my gosh.
So then, of course, I had to get it cut to even it up.
That's right, because if she cut it in a ponytail, it's uneven.
Like I had the pigtails, and so, but they were in the back, like, like low pigtails in the back. And so it's kind of hanging, over, and it's, she just kind of quietly.
So what happened after she cut it? What
she
your friend gasped for air.
I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble at home.
Oh, you weren't even worried about her.
I'm going to get in trouble at home. And then, of course, the argument breaks out. Because I think we're in like 5th grade when this happened.
Yeah.
Like that. And, of course, she gets sent to the office and all of these things.
What were the consequences?
And I don't even remember or know what ended up happening, like, with her. It was when I first got the idea of, okay, I can cut this hair.
You wanted to cut it, so was it? It was like relieving for you.
Yeah, I was at that point. I was tired of looking at my sister and how she felt and the things that she would say, and I wish this or wish that. And so I wasn't. I don't think I was as upset about it. Other than
because you didn't even say that.
Nemesis.
You didn't even mention that at all. You was like, I was worried about what was going to happen at home.
At home,
Immediately, I'd been like, oh, girl, we about to fight. I'm about to beat you
fight
up.
That girl. Every year we would fight about something. She was just a bully. So at that point, I'm like, I don't want to fight you. The fights ended in 7th grade, but that was our last fight.
You were over it.
Yeah, it was just like at that point, that relationship. When you ask, like, what was my relationship with my hair, it was definitely love, hate, and the hate was just real. With feeling like I couldn't do something to help my sister feel better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then also the extra attention.
Yeah.
Unwanted. You just
and
trying to
unwanted.
Right. You're just trying to exist.
Yeah.
And then you being, bullied and picked on because of your hair.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how you can get picked on for having the ideal quote unquote hair. And then the not so ideal quote unquote hair. It's like you can't even breathe.
To this day, I hate that term good hair.
Yes, for sure.
I think there was a show done about that.
It was with Chris Rock.
Yes.
Yep.
And I just hate that. But those are things that we learn and we've learned and had the opportunity to learn over in our time. Our era has definitely changed things.
Yeah.
But I definitely grew up in the era of good hair.
Me too. I did. Yeah. It still is a thing. It is, especially back at home. I hear it. When I go home, I'm going to hear.
You're right.
Yeah, when I go home, I'm going to hear that good hair, bad hair. I'm going to hear, if it's not about texturism, it's going to be about colorism. Like, ooh, girl, you done got so black. You must have been really out there in that sun. Yeah, it's a real thing. It sure is. And I'm just like, the way how y'all try to run away from what just naturally is very concerning.
I mean, it is. It is a mess.
It's concerning. I'm like, we have to move on. I don't know. It's it goes way back into time. It's systematic.
Yes.
It's so much oppression to undo and relearn, but you also have to be open to receiving it as well.
And that's the part right there. You have to be open to the fact of, one, understand the programming. And then understand just how much it takes to unlearn something that's generationally embedded.
That's right.
In our spirits.
Yep. Literally in our spirits. It's beyond aesthetics at this point.
It is.
It sure is. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Who usually did your hair? So you did say your grandmother.
Yes.
She usually did your hair. How would she style your hair? Because my grandmother done my hair a lot too when I was little and I hated it. She knew how to take care of it. But the way how she styled it, I used to be like, what
is going on?
I wanted to wear a hat all day at school.
Yes.
I couldn't stand it.
It was definitely a thing. I have no idea why she preferred this bun on the top of my head. Now,
okay.
You've got heavy hair because it's heavy, it's thick.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? And some length to it. And then you pile it all in the crown of the head and then you pin it down with the bobby pins.
Headaches.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
So it was.
So would it be like a donut bun or like you had like the wrap around bun?
That. Or I would have, the two pigtails.
Well, at least she knew something about fashion. Because, I mean, it sounded very, like it wasn't a comfortable hairstyle.
It was not.
Yeah, my hairstyles were comfortable, but sometimes you know what comes with comfort. It ain't cute.
It ain't cute at all. It ain't cute. Or, and the other thing would be she didn't want it loose and didn't want it coming loose. That was my grandmother's thing, right? Hair had to be tied up, pinned up.
Was it because of detangling, having to deal with
I don't even know if
that?
it was that. I just really think it was the era that she came up in. You didn't wear your hair out and loose. You was a floozy if you wore your hair out and loose. But detangling probably had a lot to do with it, of course, because if I would come home and had let my hair get in the wind and wild, and oh man, it would be, a mess. It would be heck to pay. So I think it was a matter of both, probably, but definitely because because even being allowed to wear my hair down, that was a conversation.
Wow.
When I turned 12, I was like, I want to get a perm and wear my hair down.
Considered a mature hairstyle?
Right.
Yeah, that's how it was for us too. It was a mature hairstyle.
Too mature.
Too grown.
Too grown. Can't wear your hair down. So she tied that hair to my head, man. And oh God.
Yeah. My hairstyles, I can't even describe them. I think she just went with the wind. And whatever it came out to be, that's what it was. And
oh my God.
But my mom was very great at, styling and doing our hair. Very cute, very eclectic, looking cute. She could braid, so we have the beads,
See, I didn't have all that. I'd have to go somewhere. Now, I have an aunt. She's passed on now, but she was a stylist.
Yeah.
And so she was progressive, of course. Most times stylists they're progressive.
That's right.
So she was very progressive. And so as I started wanting to get out of that, stage when I started turning like 13, 14,
right.
I would go and she would do my hair and stuff. So she gave me that first haircut. Lord have mercy.
Ooh. What?
Well, because we both got in trouble. I don't think my grandparents spoke to her for a whole year after that.
A whole year?
Oh, probably not. Oh my God. No, I mean, literally.
You said we both got in trouble. So how many years apart are you and your aunt?
So my aunt,
I'm just thinking 55. About the age and her having to get reprimanded too.
Look, she's probably maybe 18, 19 years older than me.
Relatively like a huge age gap. Yeah.
Yeah. She was.
So what happened?
Well,
so what was the haircut style? And then tell us what happened.
I went straight, short, asymmetrical bob of the 90s.
And it was uneven.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know she didn't appreciate that at all. At least if it was even and cut, maybe there may have been some room for acceptance, but you went
I went
asymmetrical.
My mom had already crossed the line when she took me to get a perm when I was 12, because the hair was like this. Oh. And I was like, I want a perm. And she took me to go get the perm, right? And of course it burnt my scalp.
Absolutely.
Burned my scalp.
Especially considering how much hair you had. And I have seen a lot of professionals apply
too much when the hair is thick.
And it's like the technique is not there because they start right at the scalp and you're not supposed to.
Do that.
Yeah, you're supposed to start at least 2 inches away from the new growth and then you come back and retouch the new growth. So when they start right at the new growth and then you have all this hair to relax, that means that process has stayed on your scalp way too long.
Because it wasn't mine who did it. My mom took me to a salon.
Yeah.
And there was some white people.
So it was a white woman that gave you a relaxer?
My first relaxer.
How did y'all confidently make that decision, especially back then?
I just wanted a perm.
You didn't care.
And my mom took me. So
there were no black hair salons?
I don't know how she came to that, what happened. I really don't. But I remember the name L'Oreal, so I know that it was.
Oh, so that was like a professional.
I was a professional, and I'm thinking that she, wanted to make sure I had a professional, because we had kitchen titians. Come on, we had kitchen.
Well, we didn't grow up going to the hair salon unless it was something our kitchen beautician couldn't do.
Yeah. So I think she was trying to make a better decision about this first perm,
which is very thoughtful.
And that's how that worked out. So my hair by 14, it's just getting back right from that experience. Yeah, for sure. And so it burned, but that was all you remember did it come out straight? It did, and it didn't last long. And as soon as the humidity hit it, boom, I would still get that fuzz. So no, it did not. Because like you said, it wasn't done right.
I wonder too, did you ever receive any haircuts or trims up until that time?
Oh no!
That's probably what it was.
By the time my grandparents got done with us about that scissors weren't coming near my head.
Yeah.
But no routine trims and things like that prior to. No, I don't recall that.
That's
that
probably
was a
what
thing.
it was.
So it's still probably a lot of dead ends already. Yeah.
And when I tell you dead ends, like a chemical can't even straighten
that out.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah, because I see it a lot whenever I was behind the chair and parents would do like an at-home relaxer. And then like a couple of months they'll bring their child to me and they would say like the ends didn't take, like the mid shaft all the way down to the ends didn't take.
Because that's all split ends.
And it would be split. And I'd be like, oh, well, if we cut all this off, it'll actually stay straight.
I definitely don't recall having routine trims and things like that. So that first.
Because I'm telling that relaxer gonna work. You put it on there and the hair is nice and healthy. Oh, it's gonna straighten your hair. Oh, yeah. It's gonna straighten your hair. Yeah, it's gonna straighten it. But usually it's always needing a cut. Or a trim.
It was bad. So that was a lot, but I was happy. Like I wanted that cut. When my aunt cut my hair, I was so happy.
And then you got the relaxer.
And then I had to go home though. Then I had to go to my grandpa.
Yes. So tell us about grandma. What did grandma say? How did grandma react and respond? And even grandpa, because sometimes they have that little 2 cents too.
It was, now my grandparents were not, they weren't the yelling kind of folks,
Good.
You just knew when they were extremely.
The aura, the mannerisms.
Yes. And so, my grandmother's like,
yeah.
And my grandfather, though, and he normally, again, the old folks, so he left most of the disciplining, especially for the girls, to her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he had something to say about that haircut. He had something to say about my aunt. He never really quite liked her again. And she was married, and she's a non-blood aunt, so he was quick to dismiss her.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
that's very brave.
It was, but I was very close to her.
Okay.
Very, very close to this particular aunt. But it just, that was a family drama.
Yeah, I bet. It is that big of a deal, especially in the South.
That was family drama.
Yeah. What I am happy to hear is that you did grow up in an environment where your natural hair was accepted, because usually most Black women's experiences is, no, we getting a relaxer because I can't do nothing with this. It's too thick, you know?
Yes.
So you and I had similar experiences where, my family was like, no, we're not relaxing her hair.
Yeah.
And then I got a relaxer and no one was upset, but it was more like you shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Now, did you get your hair pressed? Now, I had the pressing, especially for Easter. You got to get that Easter pressing going on.
I got my aunt pressed my hair. My
Yes.
great aunt pressed my hair. Yes. She pressed my hair.
Got the hot combs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
and that's when I was introduced to it being straight,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is a thing. And you're slinging it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I only liked the press because my grandmother could comb it better.
Yes.
Pressed.
And it didn't hurt.
Exactly. And it was cuter.
Yeah.
Because I was definitely all about it being cute.
Got your curls, and your things going on.
Yeah.
So definitely I loved it when we got, we could get our hair pressed.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still kitchen tishing. It was a lady that lived around the corner. She pressed all the folks' hair in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
and we'd go over there with our little money in our hand.
I never received the pressed in a professional hair salon.
It
was my great aunt with her stove, sitting in her little kitchen in her wooden chair.
Yes.
With that fire blazing, with that comb on top of it,
sitting on
with
top
that
of the stove,
blue magic on the side.
And the blue magic, girl. And the hold your ear.
Ooh.
Hold your ear.
She never burned me, though. I don't know how she was able to get it so straight everywhere around my head, even my edges. And I never felt the heat from that comb.
I can't say I had that experience.
She was so great at that.
Mm-hmm.
She was. I will say a lot of my cousins, they had like double the amount of hair I had. So maybe my hair was just like, girl, please come on.
Yeah, I can get this real quick.
Yeah, but her granddaughters and also her daughters, they had a lot of hair. Like she has a set of twins, and one of the twins, her hair was waist length and it was thick.
Woo.
Waist length. So I was like, hey, my little hair girl, she probably like, girl, come on here.
Let me just knock this out.
Exactly. All right. So now we're going to shift and start moving to your military experience with your hair, navigating through all of that. So you mentioned to me that you enlisted in 1989, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how did you usually wear your hair then?
By then, I was growing out from that bob,
Okay.
you know. So
Still relaxed.
still relaxing.
Okay.
Definitely still relaxing at that point. But I was, kind of growing out that look. But it was still a loose, like my, here or there, however I was at the time with the hair. By the time I actually shipped out, my hair was long enough that I had to put it up in uniform.
So back then, buns were accepted because I know sometimes in different services, you have to cut your hair. So back then, you didn't have to cut your hair?
So definitely not in my experience where women told they had to cut their hair. But let's just say I came out of basic training with less hair than I went in with.
What?
Yeah.
So this was Air Force basic training?
No, I initially went in the Army.
Army first. And
I went Army first.
Okay, so it was 9 weeks long for the training back then?
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Okay, so how did you end up with less hair?
Well, again, it had grew out long enough that I had to put it up in uniform, right? And so what you learn is, because you don't think about hair when you're going in. Everybody tells you anything.
Survival mode.
You're survival mode. You don't know. Everything you learn, you learn traumatically. So, it's put your hair up. And my ponytails for physical training, in PT, they never stayed up. I didn't know how to keep a ponytail up. At that point, I wish I had my grandmother putting those tight buns in my hair. I had no idea how to keep it up. So as soon as you're done with PT, even you can be in the middle of a jumping jack. If your hair falls down, that drill sergeant is going to go off.
Absolutely.
So by the time I got done getting my squats smoked all the time because,
because of your hair,
because my hair was down.
Oh, my
I went and got and in the military base, you go to the little salon. They supposedly have a salon, and they just go. And I was just like, yeah, cut it, yeah. Just cut it back off.
And that was during basic training?
Yes, I cut it during basic training.
Wow.
Yeah, I went.
Did you receive any backlash from any of the trainees?
Oh, as long as we were getting smoked because my hair was down, yes.
Yeah. What were they?
And that's not the kind of backlash you want,
at all. Because there's so many of them.
It's you're in a bay of 40 or so, about 40 women.
Yeah.
And in my time in life, usually everyone was, teenagers, 18, 19 years old. Nowadays, you go into basic training, you're going to find 35-year-olds.
Yeah, that's how it was when I joined.
Yeah.
I had a 31-year-old when I was 18. Yeah.
But, you got a bunch of kids coming in from a bunch of different places. And you certainly don't want to be the one getting everybody in trouble.
Yeah.
So it was quick for me to be like, the next time we go to the PX,
I'm getting my hair cut.
I'm going to let them cut this hair off.
How much did you allow them to cut?
Enough that I didn't have to pin it up.
Okay.
So,
like
above my collar. Yeah, back
Okay.
into that above my collar, way above my collar. So
It was easier for you to manage?
It was just easier to survive, definitely.
Definitely. Okay, got you. What type of backlash would you receive?
I mean, from everybody else, it's anything from not helping you.
Why didn't they help you with your hair?
Well, it's not necessarily helping with your hair part, but it's the whole point of basic training is is you learn how to do team things together as a team. And so, if you're the one that's causing everybody to do extra push-ups and things like that, you're gonna be the one that gets kind of pushed to the side.
So they didn't even try to help.
If we're polishing boots. And, I need extra time. Because we would split up duties. It'd be like 3 of us would just sit down and polish everybody's boots while some other folks would go and do the laundry, right?
That's right, yeah.
And then I'd turn around and realize that my boots at the very end hadn't gotten to yet. They hadn't gotten to mine yet.
So instead of helping you with a ponytail, they just decided to cast you out.
Well, what you gonna do? I mean,
because I guess for me, I would have just been like, let me help you. And then just tied your hair up, and we would all been one happy family. Nobody would have been getting
18,
smoked.
19-year-olds, right?
That's true.
So,
I still would have done it, though.
Yeah, everybody's
that's true. It depends. It is. Everybody, and maybe it's too much resentment at this point to help.
Yeah, because you're in culture shock. You're in, I don't know what Air Force basic training was like back then. We used to laugh about it, though.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let me tell you, when I used to see soldiers on Barksdale Air Force Base, I used to avoid them because you just felt like, girl, that's an airman. Like that's not the real military. Because you would hear it all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You would hear it all the time,
Yeah.
like from the Army and the Marines. We
Yes.
knew, like, okay, they're tough. They're serious.
Yes, definitely.
They have the best PT, people, and they're the best in shape. And, just y'all had a different demeanor opposed to Air Force and Navy.
Yes.
So, and we were wearing earrings. We got
we couldn't wear earrings
for that.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
So when we saw y'all, it was like we wanted to straighten up and try to present ourselves to be better. So when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah.
It definitely was. But that culture is just there. I mean, my bunkmate, she ended up getting discharged, but I used to try to cover for her too with what her issue was.
Yeah.
And then got to the point where other folks were squealing on her. And she had an issue, so she got discharged.
Yeah.
There was the thief. You're gonna always have that one.
That's true.
And nobody's trying to help that person.
Absolutely not. I don't think I help that person.
Yeah. But after I got that haircut, though, I was good.
Yeah, for sure.
I was good.
Would you have cut it if nobody had an issue with it?
I mean, I definitely think that if I weren't getting in trouble, for not being able to meet that standard, and then, in basic training, you just don't have time to figure it out. To me, the easiest thing was just cut it and figure it out later.
That's right. That's so true.
Cut it off and figure it out later. It'll grow back. That was always my attitude about the hair in the first place. Mm-hmm. It's just hair, with everything I had gone through as a child and kind of that experience and that love-hate experience. My attitude, and still is to this day, is it's just hair.
The good thing is it wasn't glorified, because imagine if you went through basic training and you didn't have that experience with your hair, where it was like, I'm kind of detached from it anyway because I don't like the unwanted attention that I get from it. I don't like my sister trying to compare herself to me because my hair is more quote unquote ideal than hers. So the good thing is it created that detachment. So when you went to the military, it's like, cut this stuff off because I don't have time.
I got time for this.
Right.
I don't have time for this.
I don't have time for this. Oh my goodness. Did you think your hairstyle would matter once you joined the military?
I had no clue.
Yeah.
I had no clue your hairstyle mattered at all. It's just one of those things. It's almost an initiation. It's just things you learn. When you get to basic training, there's a whole lot of things you're going to learn that you have no clue about until you get there. And it's just part of it. And definitely it was a getting thrown into the deep end lesson.
The only thing I was worried about, because I heard all the stories of you would have to cut your hair. Like, you have to cut your hair.
Yeah.
And like I said, I grew up in Louisiana. You cut your hair, it got to be for good reason. We don't just go cut our hair.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm not joining no military if I got to cut my hair. And then that's when the recruiter was like, oh, no, you just put it in a bun. He was like, no, that's not. I think
men have to cut their hair. Right.
And so that was the only thing I was concerned about. Now, all that other stuff I had no idea about. So like you said, it was just kind of thrown into the fire. Learned as you
go.
Right. Yeah. And so that was very shocking for me, because I'm like, nobody's talking about this.
Yes. So many things.
Yeah, exactly. Before joining, have you heard someone say military regulations could affect Black women's hair?
Not at all. Strangely enough, I grew up in a military town.
Yeah, like Biloxi.
But it was an Air Force town.
Yeah.
So I saw military women when I saw them with earrings in and with their hair looking a little cuter than what you find in the, you found in the Army at that time.
That's right.
So that exposure to what a woman in uniform looked like was different than what I ended up joining because I joined the Army. Yeah. But I grew up in an Air Force town.
Why did you choose the Army over the Air Force, since it was more Air Force affiliated?
I definitely wanted to go in the Air Force. I went and knocked on the Air Force recruiter's door. But I was a mom by the time I graduated high school. And at that time, there was no entry into the Air Force under those conditions. But the Army recruiter was standing right there.
Yeah, they be ready.
They're ready for you. So I went into the Army. Out of second choice, I guess you could say. But looking back too, especially after I had the opportunity to serve in the Air Force, I'm okay that I'm glad I was in the Army to be honest. It gave me some lessons that I'm not sure the Air Force would have been able to give me.
I agree. I know when people ask me which one I like better, I'm like, there are so many pros and cons to both. It's all about your experience and what you got from both.
Both, yeah.
I was like, but for different reasons, I would choose the Army. For different reasons, I would choose the Air Force. But I know I used to say, if you want to make rank, join the Army.
Yeah. Then that was the case. Now it's a little different, but it evolved.
Right.
But definitely then that was the case.
Yeah. Back then it was like, if you want to make rank. I also said, the Army was more Black affiliated to me. I saw more Black people in the Army opposed to the Air Force whenever I joined. So I was like, that felt more like culturally home. I don't know. It was a different aura and experience. And also listening to some of the drill sergeants, go in on some of the soldiers, I was like, it was just different because in the Air Force, when we would get cursed out, it was like professionally and emotionally, like psychologically traumatizing. So it was like, I'm not used to this, like, what is that? And why am I responding this way? And why am I more scared? But in the Army, it was like, oh, that sounds like my grandpa, my grandma, somebody cussing me out. I'm more accustomed to this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like I said, it just really depends. Right?
It depends. It depends on everything. It depends on everything you bring into the situation as well.
Yeah.
And how your coping skills and how you respond. I have a nephew that just graduated Air Force basic training down in Lackland just a couple weeks ago. And he went to college first and he pledged Kappa. So he's like, this stuff is hilarious to me.
Exactly. Because
like, after you pledged Kappa, what can you do? So it definitely depends on what you're bringing to the table.
That's right. And so you had a different POV because you saw airmen and they had earrings and did they have ponytails back then? Because
they can wear ponytails now. I don't think that was the case then. That was still, buns and the hair up. Yeah. But it was the earrings for me because they in the makeup they could, they wore makeup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you joined the Army.
Then I joined the Army. And I was like, what? Makeup? What is this makeup?
Like, what you need makeup for?
Yeah.
Wear war.
Exactly.
So different experience for sure. So walk me through your first experience learning the grooming standards and what stood out to you the most.
Oh, Lord. So it definitely is definitely going to be that physical training and the hair falling. Because you learn off the bat, you have this course, they sit you in class and go, this is AR 670-1 and your hair can't come above your collar and it can't do this and can't do it. And you're getting a knife hand while they're telling you, you just go,
that knife hand
is the bomb, right? But at the end of the day, that's not how we learned our lessons. Not from no book.
Right.
We learned our lessons from actually sometimes I think being set up to be wrong so they could correct you.
Absolutely.
Good and well, if we're out doing PT, hair's going to fall. I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, for sure.
People's hair would fall down. And I mean, you had to fix it right then, right there. You had to figure it out. And that's how we learn.
It is.
That's how we learn. And, everybody is pushing until everyone whose hair fell gets their hair together.
Yep, that's right. And, I tell everyone about, my experience in the military when it came, because nobody wants to know about your career that don't know anything about the military. So what was basic training like? That's like the main question, right?
Yeah.
And I said, it probably wouldn't be that bad if they would tell us what to do ahead of time. I was like, but they don't. I was like, so you mess up as you go and then you get in trouble.
And then you get in trouble.
Yeah. I was like, if they would just tell us the rules and the guidelines from day one, I think it would be relatively easy. So you brought that up. I'm like, yes, you usually mess up. Yeah, and even when I was when you said you weren't the only one, with your hair falling down, that makes me question how were the white girls navigating? Because, their hair is very easy for their hair to slip out of their ponytail.
Slip and fall, actually.
Right.
And so, and you're right. And so I think about that and we talk about the damage to these tight styles and things that we had to wear. And those women that had a more Eurocentric or straighter hair, they suffer damage to their hair as well.
Absolutely.
From having to, draw it all tight and that's universal when it
Sure
comes to
is.
that.
Yep.
So I think that we all, just as women in general, you got to figure the first regulations for military standard, women weren't even allowed in the military, let alone Black women. So the standards were written to the white male prototype. That's
what it was.
Fact.
Yep.
And so as the military evolved into allowing women, into allowing Black women, the regulations didn't necessarily address our needs as women, as Black women, as women with curves.
Oh my gosh.
Those uniforms, man.
Yep.
Trying
to get them straight uniforms over your hips.
And how?
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And how? I remember being, so uncomfortable in those, the BDUs and things, because you can't move correctly. It's not giving in the right places.
There's no give.
No give at all.
That's right. Absolutely no give. Yeah.
So a lot has to do with that. So I won't say we have a corner on the market when it comes to that, but I do know that getting the things we needed, I think, for our particular hair, particularly in those deployed places, that was where the issues lie too, because we just couldn't get the types of products that we needed.
That's right.
To take care of our hair.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Were the expectations explained clearly, or did you mostly learn by watching other women? But I guess we've already kind of covered that. But if that brings up a story you can share with us or tell us from your experience.
I think definitely just, keeping in mind in my era, there weren't a lot of women especially during the basic training, because there weren't a lot of women drill sergeants.
Right.
So those first weeks when you're in basic training and you're in your, what we call advanced individual training, y'all call, or the Air Force calls tech school.
Tech school,
there just weren't a lot of women to watch. So you're definitely just getting the knife hand, so of what is happening, and then you got the men, and I don't know what you're gonna do, soldier, but you getting in there, you women get in there and figure it out, because I had no women drill sergeants.
Really?
None.
I didn't either. I didn't
know
either.
women drill sergeants.
Yeah.
So just definitely looking around and going, well, who am I going to learn from? So we are learning from each other. And like you said, helping each other and trying to, those that would, help each other and figure it out and look out for each other. That's all we could do.
That's all you can do, especially when it's male-centered.
Male-centered.
I know we had 4 techs. TIs. Technical instructors.
Technical instructor. Okay.
When you join both, it's like, Lord, which one was
exactly.
it? Right. It's
Keeping
so
one
hard.
From the other,
yeah. So we had 4 TIs. We had 2 Hispanics, 1 white, 1 Black. And they did borrow women from other squadrons to help us with certain things.
Okay.
I do remember that in the basic training.
That in the Army.
They didn't do that. Yeah, because I joined in 2004, so I could see that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they would. They did. When it was when we showered, anything related to hygiene.
They had the women.
They borrowed those women to come over there.
But at least they did that.
They did,
right?
Yeah,
because we didn't have that. It was
y'all it's way more survival for you.
Definitely that.
Yeah.
It was definitely, and I think that's where the whole thing of when you're in that basic training mode, because you're always going to have all types. So you got the kid that doesn't shower. They don't have good hygiene habits.
Right.
And we have to get them straight,
That's
so
true.
you have your soap
party.
Or
you going to get in trouble.
You have your soap, your bar soap party and all those things. And we were just dependent upon fixing it for each other. I think too, though, in being and having served in both and being deployed, what I know some of those tactics are about is that in the Army, when we're forward deployed, we have to depend on each other.
Right.
You're going to be in situations where you have got to work together. You've got to depend on each other. And some of those lessons, I think, were about that as well.
Yeah.
You get together amongst yourselves and you figure out how to overcome this obstacle.
That's right. Yeah, and that's what builds that resilience too, for sure. I mean, you learn resilience throughout the entire
process. Yeah, for sure.
But it's an added layer that you're not expecting,
Sure.
For sure. Yeah. Did you ever feel the regulations assumed everyone's hair behaved the same way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we can see that. I don't know that while serving, I correlated that between the regulation. I just knew that my hair, I struggled to make my hair meet the standard, right? Definitely early on that, you're not thinking about any of that. You're just thinking about surviving. You're thinking about how do I make my hair fit into this cap, fit into this whatever it is that they're giving me. But, definitely growing and maturing and growing older, I'm like, oh, this is the problem. It's not written for people who have bulk to their hair, who have hair that can't tolerate wool. I remember when the berets came out. Oh my God. We were sewing satin material into the beret because
it would rub your hair
out. Rub it out. So, looking back, yeah, I know that now. That definitely, like I said, it started out being written for white men.
Right.
And the military evolved, but the regulations didn't so much evolve.
That's right. They did not. And at this time, were you still getting relaxers?
I got my last relaxer in 2012.
2012. Okay.
Yes.
All righty.
So I definitely went through my career
with the relaxer.
With relaxers. But by 2012, I was creeping up on, 40. And things change. And your body starts to really reject that chemical. You start changing, your body chemistry starts changing. And I just got to the point where I was like, I sat in my kitchen one day and I did again, just
oh wow.
And I had a little pixie fro.
Yeah.
And so that was just a year before I officially retired.
Oh, so you did have your natural hair.
Oh, yeah. And then I ended up with the big fro that wouldn't fit under the hat.
Oh, yeah.
But at that point, I was like, what are you going to do? Kick me out?
Right. Because listen, I've done my time.
I'm at 23.
Right.
I'm done my time.
Right. It becomes less of a concern, less of an issue because your mind frame, and then the military at this point. And then, and also just probably recognizing that it's not that serious. I'm still able to get my job done.
Yeah.
I'm still taking care of what needs to be taken care of. It's hair.
Fair.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah. And then you mentioned about the beret. Y'all actually sew satin material. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We didn't even think to do something like that.
See?
We didn't even
field expediency right there.
Right. We just complained about it, and then you would have to wet the beret to shape it to your head. And then depending on how big your bun was,
Oh, you had to have at least 3 different sizes of caps and berets.
I'm telling you.
To even begin to change your hairstyle.
Because if you didn't, then it didn't fit.
It didn't fit right.
You had to mold it all over again,
Yeah.
Ooh, Describe your morning hair routine before formation. What would that look like?
Wet gel bun.
That's right.
Just
trying to get through the day.
Just trying to get through the day. And you hope and pray that you're that you don't mess it up in PT, so you have to do it over. Because we went to PT at 6:00 in the morning in most cases.
Yeah.
And then you had to go back either to the barracks or your house or whatever, change up. So the goal was to get it done for PT formation and that you didn't get it messed up so you didn't have to turn around and try to do it again between being released from PT and being ready to be back in 9:00 formation, for work.
Yeah.
And that was it. And you don't have time to negotiate with hair that ain't functioning.
No.
But if it was raining, humid or whatever, because, if it ain't raining, we ain't training. So we're not going to stop PT because it's raining.
That's right.
So if that's happening, then you just...
Yeah. You did what you had to do.
You did what you had to do. Wet gel type bun. And, the gels and things full of alcohol. So that's not helping your hair either. But that's what it was.
Were you considering your hair health at all back then?
It was something that you learn to live with. Unhealthy hair, broken hair. It was just something I learned to live with anyway.
Yeah. You just accept it because the mission is bigger.
The mission is bigger.
Yeah. So you just don't think about it. So was that your survival hairstyle?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I think it's most Black women's survival hairstyle, or women in general. You know?
I know. I was so happy when they had these little donuts that came out. These little spongy donuts.
Yep.
And it made it so much easier because you just put that on there, spread the hair around, put the other scrunchie around there, and tuck that, and then boom. And then you didn't have to have so many hairpins to keep it up. That was a godsend.
Yeah, it is, because depending on the placement of that pin up against your head
all day,
it will hurt.
And then you throw in the Kevlar. And then if we're doing like, field exercises and stuff, and you got the Kevlar on, and that's present. Oh,
and
Lord.
that too, just thinking about the Kevlar and then your bun, trying to place that over
and right spot.
In the right spot so that the bun is not also touching the collar. It was just ridiculous.
Yep, had to be in the right spot, or your Kevlar wouldn't go on right.
Right.
Yep.
And I remember my hair actually was preventing me from being able to pass my when I was going to the gun range. It was preventing that because my Kevlar kept hitting my M16. Because my bun kept pushing my Kevlar forward. And the power of that M16, you have to put it right there in between your shoulder
blade.
But it kept hitting my Kevlar because my Kevlar kept falling because my bun was pushing it over, and I kept messing
and
that
you're
up.
Out there and you're trying to get yourself together, and
and thank God the drill sergeant at that, well, I guess you could call him a drill sergeant, because at this time I'm in the Army. And he just allowed me to let my hair down just so I could pass it and move on.
Oh yeah, he was ready to go home.
Yeah, exactly, because other than that they be
he was ready to go home.
Right. How difficult was it finding someone who knew how to take care of your hair, or was it any difficulty at all? Or were you just wearing your buns and keeping it moving?
You really get to the point where you're just wearing your buns and keeping it moving, You're throwing in the, grocery store creamy crack in a box. And you're doing that. And especially early in my career, I didn't have money. I was private, I didn't have money to get my hair done. I was in DC. You can afford that.
That's true.
So, it's not something, special occasions, things happening or whatever, you get some hair, but I didn't have a beauty routine where I had a stylist and I could indulge in that kind of thing.
What about when you got deployed? Like, what would you do for hair care when you were deployed? Because we all know if you get deployed, hair care services are just not even
there at all. That has definitely been a thing. Definitely was a thing earlier, like Gulf War I, Bosnia. That was like in the late 90s. That was definitely a thing. By the time we did Afghanistan, they would have folks there, not necessarily skilled with ethnic hair, but it would be people there. You could at least get a trim and some things like that. They got better as time went on with bringing in products to the PX and things where we could keep our hair up. But I would have to have, like, my aunt used to ship me stuff a lot.
Yes, those care packages.
The care packages, honey. Just getting conditioner. But, the hair, the water on those forward bases, it's crazy. So it's got a lot of chemicals in it. So even, washing your hair, you're washing your hair with chemicals, really. And I remember when I was in Bosnia, the water was a rust color most of the time.
Wow.
Yeah. So we brushed our teeth with bottled water. And so what my aunt, because I told her, I said, the water here is orange. And she's like, well, wash your hair, but then when you rinse it with the bottled water. So now we're like, you got bottled water, you got to drink, you got to brush your teeth. Now I got to try to rinse my hair with the bottled water to just try to get that dirty water out after I've used it to wash my hair with. I mean, you come home needing some real help for your hair when you're after a deployment. You really do.
You sure do. It needs some. You could probably almost cut it off and start over. That's right.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that movie, The 6888, with Kerry Washington?
Yes.
Yes. Oh gosh.
Yes.
That is an amazing movie. But do you recall the scene where they built the beauty salon?
Yes.
Yes. I'm like,
I was like, yes.
Right.
Go, ladies. Go.
That's right. That's how important and real it is for caring for our hair.
But even during that era when the ladies were allowed in the military, women were still expected to keep femininity.
That's right.
And so that was a thing.
Because they had skirts for
They had
our
skirts.
uniforms. That's right. Yeah.
And they were expected to keep femininity. So I was just like, yeah, them sisters found a way to build that salon,
They
didn't they?
did. And it was nice.
Mhm.
And they were so confused when they walked in there. They was like, y'all got time to build a salon, but you ain't got time to. Like,
Yes.
first of all, y'all didn't even. The operation ain't operational that y'all created for these women. And they
exactly.
made a way out of no way.
Absolutely. I think my favorite line from that, though, is, when the commander first comes in and she's doing the learning. You learn on the fly with the uniform, and she's going to, and she's telling them, you don't have the luxury. You have to be twice as good, twice as smart, twice as put together. You don't have the luxury.
You don't. That's right. And that was real.
And it was real.
It sure was. So many of our experiences, for sure.
that was a good one.
Can you share a specific moment when your hair became the focus instead of your performance? Or has that ever happened to you?
It happened actually more so after I got out. And I say that because I really just spent most of my career conforming.
Right.
The very end, when I stopped getting perms and I grew out the afro, I definitely, just kind of went, yeah, if it's sticking out from my PC, okay, whatever, I don't care. But I carried that into my second career. But when I first got out, I wore wigs. I wore straight wigs to work. Again, corporate America. And I'm still kind of inundated and programmed in this straight hair, what does professional look like?
Right.
So I wore straight wigs. And then that just got to be too much. And I showed up one day with, by now I got this huge afro, and I noticed that people started treating me differently.
Yeah, like you're a problem.
I wasn't as smart anymore. All of a sudden. Yeah. So even in life, like post-military, I experienced that as well.
Depending on the organization, you most certainly will.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't go anywhere. It's just hair.
It's the same me. And this afro was under that wig the whole time.
The whole time. It sure was.
But I'm doing this for you wearing this wig.
Yeah.
But now I need to be me.
That's right. Because at what point do you stop betraying yourself to make people comfortable when you're not doing anything but existing naturally?
Yes.
Not doing anything to you. If they never invented wigs, this is how you would see me every single day. And I would still get my job done.
Exactly. It's not keeping me from that. In fact, it might be better because now
I can
control these hot flashes.
Right, because wigs are hot.
Yeah.
On top of you have a lot of hair braided underneath
there. Exactly.
Then you add the wig. Well, you might have a wig cap, and then you add the wig. It's just too much. It's too much. It's too much. Oh, man. Let's see. We are cutting it with time. So
we're having so much fun.
Yeah, it goes by quick. It goes by so quick. And especially once you warm up and the conversation gets to going and you get the flowing and it's just all good, but we do have to wrap it up, unfortunately. So we're going to skip all the way down to rapid fire.
Uh-oh.
Well, we have favorite hairstyle while serving. What would have been your favorite hairstyle while serving if you could have, besides the bun?
I did definitely have periods where I would keep my hair cut in the short bob where I could wear it loose.
Yeah.
And, of course I had perm, so it would be flat and I could wear a nice bob as long as it, fell above my collar. Then I think they got to the point where they changed it to not below the bottom edge of the collar so you could get about a whole nother inch on
That's
to
right.
that there. Cornrows when deployed, when they finally allowed us to wear cornrows, because that was against regs at one point when I first came in.
Yep, sure was.
And they changed the regs where we could wear cornrows and individual braids. Cornrows was my thing. The individual braids was never my thing.
Yeah,
but
that's a lot. Especially like PT, and then running and the braids, the heaviness and the weight of the braids,
But I loved it when I would cut my hair to be able to wear the bob and wear it loose. I liked that.
Yeah, I did too. Whenever I cut my bob, I just felt that ponytail made me feel like a boy sometimes.
Yeah.
So whenever I cut my hair into a bob, and I had to because my hair broke off, I was like, oh, I can put on my PC and I feel cute and I look cute.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. One word that describes your military career.
Eclectic.
Why?
Well, I served in 3 branches of the Army. So I did active, I did Guard and Reserve, then I went back active. I changed careers in the Army from military intelligence to combat medic.
Yeah.
And then I changed branches to the Air Force.
That's right. Eclectic is the best way to describe it, okay?
Definitely that.
Very unorthodox. It's not what you always hear, you know? Yeah. And one word that describes your relationship with your hair today.
Acceptance.
Amen.
Just acceptance. I mean, like, I just started these locks about 3 years ago.
And they are beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
But
what made you decide I want locks?
Dealing with, you know, hair, the thickness and everything, and not perming my hair, and perimenopause, and trying to figure out what to do with this, because I usually have it up actually off my neck. And my kids are lock kids, all 3 of them. They love locks, and they're like, "Mom, you should lock your hair," and I finally did it. And my daughter was just sharing that, you know, that's part of your locks hold your story. And when she shared that with me, it really resonated there. So I can go back into my locks, and I can, you know, kind of tell some of the stories. I've got some purple. I'm a big Mardi Gras girl, you know that, right?
Yeah,
so I've got some purple in one of these locks that wouldn't come out, but it's a part of the story, right?
That's so true. I love her analogy. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. And the last question. If a young Black woman is listening today and considering military service, what's one thing you want her to know about serving with confidence and embracing who she is?
As hard as it may be to see from the outside looking in, you can definitely be yourself. And you can be yourself and still, I mean, the military is all about conformity and uniformity. That's just what you're signing up for, right? But I learned how to flip the switch. I learned how to be a soldier when I needed to be a soldier. And then I learned how to come home and take the combat boots off, take the BDUs off, and become me, become mom, become sister, become wife, become whatever it was in my authentic self. I definitely had issues. Like I said, when I got out, I had to fix some things about me. I couldn't be sergeant all day, every day. That's not who the real me was. But I had to be that to do my job.
That's right.
But learning who your authentic self is, and then learning how to put her on as soon as you don't have to be the airman, the soldier, the whatever it is that you need to be to do that job. Learning how to put on that authentic cloak.
That's right.
And you can do it.
Absolutely.
You can definitely do it. And it's okay. You're not fake for doing that.
No, it is a part of like a journey that you decided to navigate, you know. So, you know, we don't always show up as our authentic selves, you know, in environments, you know, you shouldn't. I wouldn't say you should. You know? Like, I know how I am at home. I wouldn't want to share that with the whole world, because everyone's perception can be so different, and they may take it the wrong way, right? Judgy and take it the wrong way. And it's like, no, this is where I'm from. This is how I grew up. Yeah. If I was talking to a Southern native, they would get it, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what we get.
Yep. Exactly. But if I take my Southern ways and then I'm talking to someone that's not from the South, they'd be like, I don't know.
I don't know. You know? I don't get it. It's not happening for me.
Exactly. So yeah, but you have these different, you know, job positions and titles, and you know, you just show up and do what you need to do, as long as you're not hurting nobody. You get your job done and you go home.
And you go home. and you do you. But I think that's a part of maturity as well. So you're not gonna start off knowing all of that. Especially if you start off young, 18, 19, you know, you don't know who you are or what you're about in your 20s anyway.
That's right.
But as you learn your authentic self, you learn how to weave her into those different titles, and you learn when you can pull her out, and you embrace and enjoy her when you pull her out. And then when you need to be, you know, sergeant or whatever, you know how to pull that out too.
That's the perfect way to explain that. The weaving. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, I don't know if you want our viewers and our audiences to continue following you. If you want to, if you have social media outside, because I know we connected on Facebook.
Yes.
So if you want them to continue following you and seeing what you've been up to, you can shout out your socials. But if not, we do not have to do that either. So I don't want you to feel like that was invasive. This is my story, but I have a boundary.
I'm not big on social media. I'm definitely, I've been on Facebook since it came out. And so I don't move around now. They tell me I have an Instagram and something else that I have. And I get stories from my kids from TikTok. And I got an account. Don't even know how I got the account.
But you're not really on
I'm not really on those things.
What about the Connect that you shared with me? Yeah, maybe, let them know about that.
I would love to shout that out.
Yes.
So about 12 or 13 years ago, the VA came out with a program called Make the Connection. And what it was about was meeting service members, veterans, where they were when it came to just sharing our stories. And so getting veterans to come into the VA and go to the traditional therapy and group therapy, it wasn't working. So we sat in environments like this and we were interviewed and shared our stories about different things. And they were placed on a website called Make the Connection at va.gov. And you can actually search for whoever, if you are a woman that was a particular job or in a particular branch, and then you can listen to people's stories that are similar to yours. It's like group therapy.
Right.
You can relate to them if it's about PTSD, if it's about military sexual trauma, if it's about whatever you want to listen to someone else's story about, you can. So I am one of the first veterans that was interviewed back in 2011 for Make the Connection. I shared a lot about my time in Bosnia, about how deployments impacted my family. But it's a great resource for those who are not into being in group spaces, but you really want to hear how other people may have overcome some things, how they're dealing with some things. You're not alone. And, one of the things I ended my interview with is that we went where we went. We did what we did together as a squad, as a team. And so getting past some of those things that may have traumatized us, we can still do that together.
Right. Absolutely.
Make the connection.
That's right.
Yeah.
Virtually.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you again for carving time out of your day to spend with us. It's been great getting to know you.
It. Thank you.
And it was an extreme pleasure. I really appreciate it.
I am looking forward to continuing, definitely being in connection. And anytime you feel like I can be of help, just holler out.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Today's conversation reminds us that behind every regulation is a person. Behind every hairstyle is a story. And behind every woman who has served is an experience that deserves to be heard. Thank you, Jacinda, for your honesty, your vulnerability, and your service. And thank you to everyone listening. If this conversation taught you something, challenged your perspective, or reminded you why representation matters, share this episode with someone else. Until next time, remember that Black hair is never just hair. It's history, it's identity, it's resilience. This has been Hair What I'm Saying.